I document abandoned buildings for a living. I run a small channel, mostly Korean ruins. Factories, schools, the occasional resort that went bankrupt in the 90s. But hospitals are different. Hospitals hold on to things. The Incheon Yongbu Psychiatric Center closed in 2004. 30 years of operation. The official story was funding cuts. The unofficial story involved a fire on the 6th floor that killed 9 patients. The staff had locked the ward doors from the outside. I went in November. My friend Jaewon was supposed to come, but he canceled the morning of. Said his grandmother had a dream about him walking into a building full of smoke. She begged him not to go. So I went alone. The ground floor was standard. Overturned desks, shattered glass, graffiti from teenagers. Water pooled in the corners. The smell was somewhere between wet concrete and something organic I didn't want to identify. On the 2nd floor, I found the old intercom system. A wall-mounted panel with buttons for each ward. The kind with a built-in speaker and a handset on a coiled cord. The handset was still there, hanging from the cord like a dead thing. The building had no power. I want to be clear about that. The mains had been cut 20 years ago. I checked the breaker panel on the ground floor. Every switch was off, the wiring corroded green. So when the intercom crackled, I felt something cold move through my chest. It was just static at first, like someone blowing into a microphone. Then a sound underneath the static. Rhythmic. Almost like breathing, but too slow. Too deliberate. Like something practicing how to breathe. I told myself it was interference. Radio signals, maybe a cell tower nearby creating feedback in the old wiring. I even laughed. It sounded wrong in that hallway. The laugh came back to me a half-second later, but it wasn't an echo. The timing was wrong. It was too late, like something was repeating what I'd done. I went up to the 4th floor. I should have left. I know that now. But I'd driven 2 hours from Seoul and I needed content. That's the excuse I gave myself. The 4th floor was the women's ward. The rooms were smaller here. Each one had a metal bed frame bolted to the floor and a drain in the center of the room. Some of the mattresses were still there, stained in patterns I photographed but never posted. In room 412, I found something on the wall. Not graffiti. Scratched into the plaster with something sharp. Hundreds of tally marks, grouped in 5s, covering the entire wall from floor to ceiling. And in the center, in Korean, 3 words. She keeps calling. That's when the intercom rang. Not static this time. A ring. A proper telephone ring, echoing through the empty building like it was coming from everywhere. I could hear it on every floor. Through the stairwell, through the walls. The same 2-tone ring, over and over. I went back to the 2nd floor. The intercom panel. One of the buttons was lit. A small amber light, the kind that shouldn't have been possible without power. Ward 6. The 6th floor. The floor where the fire happened. I picked up the handset. I don't know why. My hand just did it, like something was pulling the decision out of me before I could think about it. There was a woman's voice, speaking Korean. Very calm, very measured, like a nurse reading instructions. She said,
The doors are locked. The doors are locked. The doors are locked.
over and over. The same sentence. But each time, her voice got a little higher, a little faster. Like she was trying to stay calm and failing. I hung up. The light on the panel went out. I stood there for maybe 30 seconds, telling myself it was a recording, some loop left in the system. Then the light came back. And the phone rang again. This time, I didn't pick up. I went to the 6th floor instead. The stairwell past the 5th floor was different. The walls were black. Not painted. Scorched. The fire had eaten everything up here. The ceiling tiles were gone, exposing twisted metal framework. It smelled like old charcoal and something underneath that. Something sweet. Ward 6 had 9 rooms. Every door was closed. Not just closed. Fused. The heat had warped the metal frames into the walls. I couldn't open a single one. But through the observation windows, I could see inside. Each room had a bed frame, melted into shapes that didn't look like furniture anymore. And on every wall, the same tally marks, scratched into the scorched plaster. But these weren't counting days. They were counting rings. Each group of 5 had a small circle scratched next to it. A telephone. My phone buzzed. A notification. Low battery. And underneath that notification, a missed call. From a number I didn't recognize. I looked at the number. It was 7 digits. Korean phone numbers have 8. But hospital intercom systems, the old ones from the 80s, they used 7-digit internal codes. I ran down 6 flights of stairs, through the lobby, out into the parking lot. I sat in my car with the engine running for 20 minutes before I could drive. I never went back. I never posted the footage. I deleted all of it. But the calls didn't stop. Every few weeks, always between 2 and 4 in the morning, I get a call from that 7-digit number. I've never answered. I've changed my number twice. Last month, my girlfriend picked up my phone before I could stop her. She held it to her ear for about 3 seconds. Then she put it down very carefully and said,
Why is a woman asking me to unlock the door?
In 2019, I took a contract job with a timber survey crew in Penang. Not the tourist side. The interior. Past the durian orchards and the kampung villages, where the old-growth rainforest hasn't been touched since the British left. Our camp was near Sungai Ara. 6 men in 2 canvas tents, a portable generator, and a radio that barely worked. The nearest village was 11 kilometers downhill. At night, the jungle is not quiet. It screams. Insects, frogs, birds you've never heard of, all layered on top of each other until the sound becomes a wall. On the 3rd night, the wall went silent. I was in my tent around midnight. One moment the jungle was roaring. The next, nothing. Like someone had pressed mute. I've been in forests my whole life. That doesn't happen. Even during a storm, something is always calling. Then the smell hit. Frangipani. Sweet, heavy, suffocating. The kind of floral scent that clogs your throat. In Malaysia, they say if you smell frangipani in the jungle where no frangipani grows, she's already close. Our foreman was a Malay man named Razak. 50 years old, built like a shipping container. I'd never seen him afraid of anything. When the silence hit, he sat up in his cot and said one word.
Pontianak.
He told us the rules.
Don't look up. She sits in the trees. Don't follow the sound of a baby crying. There is no baby. Don't run. She's faster. And if the frangipani smell gets weaker, it doesn't mean she's leaving. It means she's behind you.
We stayed in the tent. All 6 of us, shoulder to shoulder in a space meant for 3. The generator was still running. The single bulb outside the tent threw a circle of yellow light about 4 meters wide. Beyond that, nothing. At 1:30, we heard the crying. A baby. Far away at first, somewhere deep in the tree line. A newborn's wail, desperate and thin. The kind of sound that pulls something out of your chest whether you want it to or not. One of the younger guys, Hafiz, started to stand up. Razak grabbed his arm so hard I heard the fabric of his shirt tear. "No," he said. That was all. Just no. Hafiz sat back down. He was crying. The crying moved. Not walking. Circling. It went around the camp in a slow orbit, always at the same distance. And as it moved, the frangipani smell pulsed. Stronger when the sound was closest, weaker when it passed behind the trees. She was circling us. Testing the edges, Razak started praying. Surah al-Baqarah. His lips moving fast, his eyes closed. 2 of the other Malay guys joined him. I'm not Muslim. I didn't know the words. I just watched the tree line and tried to keep breathing. At 2:15, the crying stopped. The frangipani faded. For about 10 minutes, nothing happened. Razak opened his eyes and said, "She's gone to the river." I asked how he knew. He said, "Because the frogs are back. But only on the east side." She went west. We should have stayed in the tent until morning. But the generator ran out of fuel at 2:40. The light went out. And in the darkness, we heard something new. Not crying. Not the jungle coming back to life. Footsteps. Bare feet on wet leaves. Coming from directly behind the tent. Razak whispered to me, very slowly, very clearly.
When I say go, you walk to the truck. Do not run. Do not look behind you. If you feel breath on your neck, stop walking and recite any prayer you know. Any God will do.
We walked to the truck. 6 men, single file, in complete darkness. The truck was maybe 15 meters away. It took us 4 minutes. Halfway there, the man behind me, Yusuf, stopped. I heard him start whispering. A prayer in Arabic, very fast. Then he started walking again. He never told me what he felt. We got in the truck. Razak drove. No headlights for the first kilometer. He said the light would attract her. He drove that muddy jungle track in pure darkness, from memory, at maybe 10 kilometers an hour. None of us spoke. When we reached the paved road, Razak turned on the headlights. In the rearview mirror, lit by the red of the taillights, I saw something standing at the edge of the tree line where the dirt road met the asphalt. A woman in white. Long black hair to her waist. Standing perfectly still, but she wasn't standing on the ground. Her feet were about half a meter above it, just floating there, watching us leave. Razak quit the next day. Most of the crew followed. The company sent a replacement team the following week. They lasted 2 nights before they called in and said the equipment was malfunctioning. All of it. Simultaneously. I asked Razak later what a Pontianak actually is. He said she was a woman who died giving birth. The baby died too. She comes back because she never finished becoming a mother. She's not angry. She's looking. And she will look forever. I went back to the UK 3 months later. I live in Manchester now. Last spring, my neighbor planted a frangipani tree in her garden. The night it first bloomed, I woke up at 2 in the morning to complete silence. No traffic. No foxes. No wind. And the smell. That sweet, heavy, impossible smell coming through my closed window.
In 1996, I was 15 years old, living with my grandmother in Mainong, a small Hakka town in southern Taiwan. The kind of place where the dogs know your name and the temples are older than the government. Every mid-autumn festival, the women in our neighborhood would gather after the moon was high. The married women stayed inside to clean up from dinner. But the unmarried girls, the ones between 13 and 18, we had our own tradition. We played Yi Ah Ku, the chair goddess. It's an old divination game. You take a bamboo chair, a 4-legged one, and you dress it. A woman's blouse draped over the back. A wig or a bundle of black hair on top. A small mirror, face down, placed on the seat. And a rice spoon. You draw a face on it. Eyes, nose, mouth. That's hers. That's the goddess. The legend says she was a young girl, beaten to death by her sister-in-law. Never married. Never grew old. On the night of the Mid-Autumn Festival, if you call her properly, she comes into the chair and answers questions. About love, mostly. Which boy likes you? Whether you'll marry well. Teenage girl questions. 2 girls hold the chair by the front legs, lifting it slightly off the ground. The others sing the calling song. Yi, ah, go, I, ah, che, cheng li, go go, lei che I, che, I tian, noi, I sen. Chair goddess, chair elder sister, we invite your aunt to sit in the chair. Sit still and tell us your answers. When she arrives, the chair gets heavy. That's how you know. The 2 girls holding it will feel the weight change, like someone just sat down. Then, you ask your questions. The chair tilts forward for yes. Backward for no. If the answer is a number, it taps the ground. 1 tap, 2 taps, 3. That year, 1996, there were 7 of us. My cousin Mei Ling was holding the left leg. I was holding the right. The others sat around us. Ah Fang, Shu Hui, Pei Shan, Xiao Yu, and Wen Wen. Wen Wen was the oldest. She was 17. She'd done this before. We sang the song 3 times. Nothing happened. Mei Ling started giggling. I was about to let go when the chair moved. Not tilted. Pulled. Like something yanked it downward from the seat. The weight tripled in an instant. Mei Ling gasped and nearly dropped her side. Wen Wen took charge. She asked the first question. Are you ye are ku? The chair tilted forward. Yes. Were you called by us tonight? Forward again. Yes. How old were you when you died? The chair tapped the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 years old. Shu Hui asked next, Will I marry Lin Wei Chen? The chair tilted backward. No. She pouted. Ah Fang asked, Will I pass the entrance exam? Forward. Yes. Normal question. Normal answers. We were starting to relax. Then Xiao Yu asked something she shouldn't have. She didn't mean any harm. She was 14, the youngest of us, and she asked, Do you miss your sister-in-law? The chair went still. Completely still. Not tilting. Not tapping. Just heavy and dead in our hands. Then it started shaking. Not rocking. Vibrating. Like something inside it was furious.
Let go. Send her back. Sing the closing.
We were supposed to sing a farewell verse. That's how you end the ritual properly. You thank the goddess and ask her to leave. But Mei Ling had already dropped the chair. It hit the ground on its side. The mirror cracked. Wen Wen went white. She said, very quietly,
You can't drop it. If you drop it before she leaves, she stays. She has nowhere to go back to.
We stood up and backed away. Ah Fang was crying. Xiao Yu kept saying sorry over and over. And then the chair moved. By itself. It rocked from its side onto its legs, slowly, like someone was standing it upright from the inside. And it sat there, facing us. Wen Wen grabbed a handful of rice from the offering bowl and threw it at the chair. That's an old protection. Rice for the spirits. The grains hit the blouse and stuck. Not fell. Stuck. Like the fabric was wet. But it wasn't wet. My grandmother found us 10 minutes later. She took one look at the chair, and her face changed into something I'd never seen before. Not fear exactly. Recognition. She walked to the chair and began singing the closing verse herself. Her voice was steady. She'd done this before. She sang it 3 times. On the 3rd time, the chair tipped forward and fell flat on its face. The weight was gone. You could feel it in the air. Something had unplugged. My grandmother picked up the mirror pieces, wrapped them in red cloth, and buried them under the pomelo tree before sunrise. She told me later what went wrong. Xiao Yu said the forbidden word. Not sister-in-law directly, but she referenced the relationship. And the spirit's grief turned to rage.
She's a child. A dead child who was hurt by family. You reminded her of what she can never forgive. So she held on.
I asked if the goddess was gone for good. My grandmother looked at me for a long time. Then she said,
I sent her home. But she remembers this house now. She knows there are girls here who called her and didn't say goodbye properly. She'll come back next mid-autumn. She always comes back.
I'm 44 now. I live in Taipei. I haven't been back to Mainong for the Mid-Autumn Festival in 28 years. I make excuses every year. Work. Travel. Illness. My grandmother died in 2012. I went home for the funeral. The pomelo tree was still there. I found the red cloth under her bed, folded neatly. Inside were mirror fragments, still wrapped the way she'd done them that night. And a note in her handwriting.
Every year, she comes to the tree. Every year I sing her home. When I am gone, someone must sing. Or she will come inside and sit in the chair. And she will never leave.
The Mid-Autumn Festival is in 3 weeks. I've been learning the closing verse from a recording my grandmother made in 2009. Her voice is thin on the tape. Old, but steady. She sings it 3 times, and at the end, she says something that wasn't part of the verse. She says, I'm sorry, little one. I'm sorry for what she did to you, and you can hear the chair tap the ground. Once. Twice. 12 times.